real quick. 1 second. Let's see. Arc. We just put up a new thing called Solutions. Dina Justice put it together where we try to combine some of our one-pagers to identify the issue, but also identify solutions also.
That's right up our alley.
Can you see my my page? Is it all white right now?
Right now, we're still looking at the I-budget waiver reappropriation update from 11/2/23.
Okay, so let me get back to the Zoom so I can get it to the different page.
And I know this is high level for some folks, but at the end of the day, money talks and the rest of it walks. So
also, welcome to our meeting. This is Alan Abramowitz.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm being
Florida.
boring.
That's okay.
If I was at my office, I have more than one screen, so it's easier.
Well, we've got Alan from the ARC of Florida, who's giving us a high-level insight into money and dollars, and we're going to overlay that with some discussions as he's pulling up the next screen about intent versus design. So, Alan, you go ahead and so what Alan's been showing us is the amount of millions that are sitting there available but not currently being utilized. And again, when we're trying to make progress, it's important to show solutions. And one of the solutions is the money is there. We need to activate.
287 million, right?
And so when we have the, we don't have any money as a primary philosophy of operation, then the intent of the program gets lost. So, Alan, are you ready to bring?
Yeah, I'm ready now. I just gotta.
Okay, go ahead. And so we're going to kind of combine the philosophies with the money with our actions.
So let me do the share screen again.
Okay.
So we just made this up called. Can you see it? Solutions.
You're coming. You're at the. Oh, there we go. Go to there we go.
Got it. See it?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so what we're trying to do here is combine some things. We talk about the challenges. The American Rescue Plan went away July 1st. That was money that was helping us retain staff. There's still the staffing crisis. They've never given money for cost of living like they do for every other Medicaid program through the estimating conference, which we do not have. Plus, there's hundreds of millions of unspent funds. And we basically need a social services estimating conference, especially because they're preparing to remove a lot of people from the wait list. I think we can all tell, particularly through your advocacy, you've seen JJ, and you see a commitment to clearing the wait list. I've seen that, and you got to have the capacity out there. So you want to get ready for that. And the solution. There's a lot of money there. And so what we're talking about for the existing money that's out there this year is to come up with something like a Florida rescue plan, like they had the American Rescue Plan.
I love it.
Where they use IFS dollars to help families right now. It could be probably the biggest thing they could do is tell families we have some money for respite, and they could do respite, give the families a break.
Let me ask you something. That I last week I did a presentation that was really about the children on the wait list that are ultimately primarily going to be served through the Medicaid state plan.
Yeah.
And in our discussions, I don't see that language kind of fits in here yet. At the end of the day, not only do we have the APD dollars that create the avenue through the waiver of eliminating family income, counting the individual, but we also have a co-funded model in those children under the wait list. And that, to me, is a very important combination of funding streams. And it seems
you mean ACA dollars, right? That's what you're saying.
The ACA dollars under the Medicaid state plan protected under early periodic screening, diagnosis, and treatment federal laws. That is
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
APD only pays for respite and support coordination for children, which is under 21.
Mm-hmm.
So that those dollars we're looking at are a significant amount of dollars for those currently on the wait list that wouldn't have the immediate fiscal impact exclusively on APD, but would also engage ACA's state plan funded services for the majority of those needs.
Yeah, and I know it's a challenge. You have to show medical necessity and stuff, but my thought is, let's say they don't want to put it in the waiver and double the money. They could do a lot of one-time things for families, but also for providers. If you're in Broward and you have a group home and don't have a generator would be great. You might have some clients there that are on oxygen. I mean, uh, families may need a ramp. There's so many different things. I mean, all you have to do is look at the list of individual and family supports in the rule that they're permitted to spend one-time money on. So even if it's just helping families out in the short term, uh, also they need to start building capacity. The providers are shrinking, and they're probably spending 6 cents on the dollar of the iBudget waiver this year, and they just need to help the providers sustain. They're managing deficits. They're
So,
managing
Alan,
deficits.
are you
What?
going to roll out, as you've been drilling down and providing excellent kind of high level overviews in understandable language? So, the next step that I hear you talking about is here's a rescue plan action item options that are both addressing the wait list, but also these one time. I mean, like for instance, the generators at nursing homes is law now. Generators at gas stations is law now. It ought to be generators. Generations should be really a critical need for any kind of supported living environment like that.
Can I
So,
say something? This is Melody.
yeah.
Of course, Melody, come on in.
Okay.
Show your face.
Like a year ago, a family cafe. This is Melody Hearn, Family Care Council Area 15, Treasure Coast.
Can we see?
When I spoke with our emergency person, I can't think of her name, Karen. Hagen. Yes. Yeah. She said it was law that in their plan, every group home had to have a generator. So someone needs to pull that reg up and make sure that that's there. And if they don't have one, then get this funding through to every provider that doesn't have a generator, because then they're out of compliance.
I thought that was for nursing homes.
That's for nursing homes. I don't know if it's for.
Oh, I know, but I spoke to Karen about our group homes because my son is in a group home and he has oxygen.
The other thing is vehicles to do transportation. There's so many different needs out there that have that much money available, even if you're doing one-time spending. But the goal is not to dictate what needs to be done. We're just hoping APD comes up with some process to be able to spend the money on needs that are out there.
Well, it seems to me, Alan, that that we're in an environment that leadership comes from without and then is enlightened and embraced, hopefully, by leadership, in that these innovations are not coming currently from within. And so that's why we, the people, the ARC, all the other groups are saying, here's solution, here's idea. We're trying to put a lot more emphasis on this is the intent. I mean, because we're now in the legislative environment where it's not just the feel-good relationship with your local legislator. It's time to start counting votes. And so one of the votes that we're looking for is, do you intend to help people under 393, under Florida Statute 393 for developmental disabilities? Do we intend to actually do this as a state? If so, what are the solutions? And that rolls really nicely into here's where the money is, here's where the needs are, here's some concept ideas of it, because we want to pitch solutions, but not just, oh, I feel your pain. We don't want just I feel your pain. We want to feel your action. We want you to be part of talking about legislators, that we want them to be part of the commitment to better government that works more successfully, that serves the people that are intended, the we the people part of this whole thing. So the education on where the money is has an awful lot to do with the ability to then push the support. And part of what we have to ultimately do now, I believe, is begin to get people to commit to the intent of the law, which
well,
is
we're talking to policymakers about these ideas. I think one of the big issues is, agency heads, they meet every month with their budget people, at least everyone I know that's been a budget head, an agency head, and they're looking at what's happening with their budget. And when you have a lot of money left, that's when you get creative about, we have these dollars available. What can we do to help people? And, I remember Sam Garrison when he testified at the House. He's the chair of the Appropriations, Health and Human Services on the House side. And he talked about accountability. And let me tell you, agency heads are accountable when they have deficits. In fact, it's a criminal offense to have a deficit, but they need to be held accountable for having surpluses too, especially in the social services arena. That's the one place the legislature gave that money to help people. That's what that money's there for.
And we have to be sure that what we are operating under in part is a philosophy that I've promoted that says it's intended to help. That's what the statute says. But unfortunately, it's also designed to say no. Yeah. And that's why we have huge deficits. That's why we have wait lists. That's why we don't have the creative solutions, the proactive looking at, holy smokes, I got millions of dollars sitting here. I got huge needs. What are we going to do about it? And since that may not be happening automatically, it's very important that we continue to be engaged, intelligent, informed advocates that have the freedom to say these things, because those agency heads are not necessarily free to say their dirty laundry. There is the political reality of how much can they say. They don't probably sit around every day and say, my God, we got 25,000 people that are waiting. We got thousands that are being underserved. What are we going to do about it? It doesn't seem to be currently the climate. And so part of my hopes is that the true stories of families, the connections locally to your constituent services, the language of bills being developed, the education of families and advocates about the dollars and where they are, so it's not like a little pat on the head, but this is serious business of millions of dollars and lives involved, that we continue to do that. So having this kind of are you committed to the intention? If you are, work with us on the legislative language, the operational guidance that helps the intent be yes, we want to help you, not no, we can make it so complicated that you're not going to get served.
Well, I was just going to mention the governor's budget comes out at the very beginning of December. I feel pretty good about it. I feel like everyone's been doing what they can do. I think we've brought the issue to the attention of everyone that could be brought to. In early December, we're going to find out if our message is getting through. And, our goal really is not to get necessarily everything in the budget. Remember, the governor's rarely in the past has never put anything in the budget. But I think that this year, I have a good feeling that they're really getting the message.
But Alan, you're also saying in the budget, plus what's sitting here in the back room waiting to be actually implemented.
They are aware of that. They are aware of that. Okay. Clearly they know that now.
And now we know that now. Yeah. So when people are saying, go away, there's not any money, and you should feel bad because of all the people waiting, if you actually need the level of help that is required, we need to be able to counter that with, when you're out of money, call me and tell me that's the truth. Until now, why are we not doing as intended? Where is the lack of commitment? What are the barriers? Is it a legislative action? Is it an administrative action? Is it a philosophic direction? And so, Alan, bringing together, not only we feel good about the budget, but here is immediate opportunities to address what are massive amounts. And my hopes is that we can get some engagement here from the Agency for Healthcare Administration and their critical role in the state plan for addressing what could be a significant budgetary impact if we brought on all the people that are waiting that are birthed to 18 that would qualify for that.
A
Hey,
comment
Alan.
to Alan and a question to Stephanie. Alan, not with the intention of stating what, but as a matter of kind of like giving examples, those that you mentioned about transportation vehicles and generators, I think, examples like that are real, are important, are priorities, and even if it is as a matter of giving the idea or giving the example, to be specific as you are doing, it will be wise. Question for Stephanie. Steph, for those, for example, that one that Alan just showed, will it be possible to circulate it in the database of all the generators, sorry, all the
Yeah, all the
legislators?
legislators.
Yes, all the
You mean for Liz to send out with the stories, like send that one pager?
Yes, I am
Yeah.
thinking because remember there is the governor too, APD, Taylor Hatch is in that list. So that, that database, I value it a lot.
Yes, I think that that's something to talk to Liz about, and she can add that in her email.
I just want you to know that if you go to if you click on our under advocacy legislation, there are 6 one-pagers.
Can you go back to that and share the screen one more time so we can wrap up with that part of it, Alan?
Yeah, let me
share screen, because I mean, I thought that was very effective. And again, what is really nice is we're not just parents crying and whining. We are intelligent, engaged, informed advocates that have the knowledge and experience as caregivers, as advocates, and we bring that to the table too. But having this level of well-prepared, professionally developed information that can be validated and verified by people, it puts us in a much better position advocacy-wise, because it's not just one. The ARC is the most significant, impactful provider in the entire state as an entity, as an organization, as to the number of people served through not only where they live, but where they work and where they learn and how they get around and share in the community. So it's great to have these things. So this is on the advocacy section.
Yeah, let me tell what each one says real quick. Okay. The first one talks about all the stuff that's happening that's causing the problem for providers to be able to expand services and why you're seeing a drop of some services. The second one is any discussion of managed care. It's like guardrails for managed care. I personally think that the decision's already been made, but there's things that can be done. There's better managed care than other managed care. And so we've listed some things. We actually wrote a formal response to ACA for CMS when they applied for the waiver. Next is Social Service Estimating Conference. If you click on that, you'll find a one page about why it's so important. This one is a survey we did, so you can see how the providers are struggling and how the increases of such things as insurance is cost, but they've never given money for insurance. That ties back into the estimate to the Social Services Estimating Conference. This one is the review of state spending, what could have been, and the last one is the new one we just put up about a solution. Is come up with a Florida rescue plan.
Sweater, but it's far too much money. I don't like the sweatshirt.
Somebody's on. Alan?
Yep.
That is absolutely awesome because
Southern Tide has much nicer stuff in my opinion.
Well, hey, Adrian, can you mute yourself? We can hear
Oh,
you.
Sorry.
It's all good.
We got your opinion.
And I know I've talked too much already, but I'm gonna just listen for a little because
You have not talked too much. You've actually done what we had hoped. And
Right on that
Stephanie, I
button.
know you want to talk about the Charlotte County Legislative Delegation, which
I
kind of
really do. I
which
very
really
much want to talk about the Charlotte County delegation meeting, which is Monday
let's
at
do
9
that.
a.m. And it's one of our last ones. There are a bunch of families that are going to be there. It would be so great if we could kind of end legislative delegation season, if you will. Just showing legislators we're still committed, and also at this point, you know, we're thankful. I'm glad that Alan just addressed what our legislators are doing. Today, this morning, I talked to a bunch of people here in Collier. You know, the fact that our Senate president for this year is acknowledging the need is wonderful. And all of the other delegates, all the senators and representatives, they've come up with some banging questions in these APD presentations and committee meetings. It's clear that their constituents are speaking to them. I think it was Bartleman. She landed it in the APD presentation. They were talking about something, the wait list, clearing the wait list. And more or less her response was, well, we got to get to the other side. If we don't have a workforce to serve these individuals, clearing that wait, we need to look at this a little bit more in depth. And so the more information we can bring, and not so much Alan and Tom's big fancy language, our stories, the things that we're walking through is the education. I have had a lot of families ask, what do we say when we get there? What is our platform? And there are some things, you know, that what Alan talked about with his one pager about money left on the table. You know, my kids waited 385 days for services, and you're telling me we had millions and hundreds of millions of dollars? Ugh. You know, it burns. And here are some solutions. This one pager on solutions, I'm so glad that the ARC came up with that, because the other thing is we want to be resources to these legislators. This is a great first year, and I have realized pretty quickly that this is not going to be our last year. We're going to have to keep talking and educating and be valuable to them. And I always like when people come to me with solutions. So Monday, I forgot the date already. 20th? Yep. 20th, Charlotte delegation. The address is on our Facebook group after this email. You know, when I send the Zoom recording, I'll send the information. If you can make it, that'd be fabulous. I didn't get there's no school that week, so I had to do a few hoops to get there. So I didn't submit my information early enough to get as a speaker. But when you show up to the meeting, there's a little form in the back, and you get your 2 minutes to talk. One of the things I'm really excited about the Charlotte delegation is when we were all at Sarasota, I think his name is Representative Grant. Is that right, Hebby? Grant?
Correct.
He invited us. He said, come to Charlotte. So if you're going to invite us, let's show up to the party and have a good time. And then
give their office a heads up that you're coming.
Huh?
Give their office a little email heads up.
Maybe Sadi.
So with that, my We the People t-shirt is gonna be here on Monday. I hope it says it's gonna be here on Monday. We got a logo and we got a t-shirt. Because our next big awesome fun day, Amanda and I were talking about this earlier this week, is gonna be DD Day in the Capitol. And this is DD Awareness Day, meaning that look at us. Hi, we exist. We're humans. We're here, and we're to be celebrated. So I was thinking the We the People group can come up and we could have a good time. We could have bubbles. We could have one of my girlfriends, I'm going to try to talk her into this. She has one of those photo booths, like where you like, stand in front of the thing and it takes your number. It'd be so cool if we could have all of our people come. We can take silly pictures, meet our legislators, show Tallahassee who we are, and one of the biggest things I want to say is share our stories. So that story link, okay, I'll come back to you. That story link that I have, I need more people to fill it out. We're kind of at a standstill right now.
Oh my gosh. It wasn't even close. No. It wasn't even close. And that's school. And he could have slammed into that person's e-bone.
We got a mic.
Oh, that sounds tough. Hey, Melly, can you mute? Alan?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention Ohio recently just increased their waiver by 35%. And the reason they did that is families and providers spoke with one voice. And, that's why one of the reasons we're trying to expand with like community partners now, like you guys are. We need to be with one voice. The overall theme for the long term is that, because once we get in the estimating conference, and I think that will happen within the next couple of years, I think that we'll be starting to go after policies and procedures that are better and, have more of a say on how they actually do the work they do.
Why don't you think we're getting into this estimating conference this year? Like, why? Because they said no? Like,
no, I mean, I think we're not it's kind of political. They could not change the law and do it if they wanted to. It's just the governor, House, and Senate getting together. But the way the law is written, it's right now the money is such a big issue that let's wait till next. I mean, if they do it, that's fine. But you can only spend your time on so much stuff when you're talking, and we have such desperate issues this year. That is more of a fix, a systemic fix. But I think we got, with Speaker Perez and Senator Albritton coming in as leadership, probably two of the most caring people I know, especially Albritton. I think we're in good shape. They'll be able to see it.
And it takes a long
when
time.
You talk to them and say, if you don't put us in the estimating conference, all you're doing is making up the difference of the money you need on the backs of families, because you can't run a deficit. And the thing is, right now, deficit's not even on the table. They got so much surplus, it's hard to tell them, you got to be worried about running a deficit because they're not even close to it. So it's not the issue right now. The issue is they need more money in the system, and they need to make sure that, it's not enough to have money, but providers, if you're a provider and you're managing deficits, and every time you add a new employee, you've added more deficit, you're kind of managing deficit. And the only reason they can exist right now is because providers got some, it's called employee retention tax credit or something like that. Yeah. They got some money they have to the side that they're using so they don't have deficits, but it's not there forever. It's going to be gone in a year.
So the good news is what Alan is saying is very high-level, detailed stuff. I think I'm somewhere in the middle, and Stephanie's bringing it down to the reality. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
You don't have enough money to run your household. I understand, but if you got a potload of money and you're not using it, but at the same time you're saying you're poor, then something's not right. And that's kind of the language of families. But that's what's so nice about to be able to say it in a way that makes such sense, but also be able to communicate the high level or more high level policy about, I'm just not making it up. It's just not my opinion. Here's detailed facts, and we've got people behind the scenes. So come Monday is another opportunity to be able to put the faces with the names, to continue to bring it up. And the truth is, it hasn't just been the delegation meetings. It's been the delegation recordings that have given this stuff legs, and that Stephanie, JJ, and everybody else has been talking. These things keep getting played again and again and again and attached to emails. Did you see this? And it's on our Facebook pages, and people are seeing it. And that is important, that What Alan was talking about, what we've been talking about is if we can speak with our own voice, but collaborate with people that have the same mission, we can make progress. But yes, to things like revenue estimating conference, it takes political time for these things to percolate through the enthusiasm of becoming real. But what we've done so far and what is so important to do right now is those constituent connections that, like for instance, Stephanie has. And then somebody else in our community has a parallel, extremely intense situation that not only triggers Stephanie emotionally, but
Yeah,
provides...
let me talk about that for a second, because I haven't shared with my We the Peoples. So when we went to Sarasota, one of our new moms, Holly, she came and spoke. Her son was denied to the wait list because she had the wrong autism diagnosis. She called me panicked yesterday because she almost hit a kid on a very busy road where we live. And she said it took her a few seconds, but she recognized the kid had autism. His mom, grandma, sisters were chasing the kid, and she was on her way to a speaking event. Actually, she was like in this ball gown, calling 911, and wanted to find out. She found out that kid went to my boy's school, wanted to find out if he, is he alive? What happened? So I contacted my boy's school, and they connected me with this mom. And listening to this mom was like a reflection of my life. Her two daughters go to school with my two younger kids, and her two daughters are extremely depressed. They're not doing well in school. They're scared to be home. The kids, he's violent. Grandma can't be around him anymore. And every single day is a crisis. And she never knew about the APD, and she never knew that there were additional options. And the good news is we the people, we families, we know what it's like, and we know how to help people. The real news is that the one thing the whole reason I got into this is because I didn't want future families in crisis to experience what mine did. And I'm nervous because the laws haven't changed yet, and this kid needs help now. And he's known my boys. I've known him. I didn't know who that was. It was just like happenstance, but since he was like 4, and my 12-year-old knows his sister, and like it's everywhere, and it's right now, and it's crisis after crisis, and the things that I'm going through don't even pale into comparison to some of the other issues that y'all have gone through. And it seems like we are being extremely effective, because even though what we're saying isn't necessarily pretty, it is the truth. And there is such a need. So I'm like a little bit flustered right now with the weight of it all. Oh my God.
Let me put the punchline out on that.
Yeah, do it. Thanks.
The punchline is because you had a deep relationship with your legislator, you were able to communicate in a heartfelt, genuine, mom-to-mom communication about somebody else, some other mom, and that family, and how all you're trying to do is help a family not experience what you did. And so to put yourself out with that emotional vulnerability, with that honesty, and with the selflessness of saying, it's not just all about me. I want to help my family, but this is something I don't want another family to go through. So those legislative constituent services relationships that you build.
Oh yeah. So okay, now I'm following now. I was stuck in that moment. So I emailed Representative Mello and let her know about this family, and it's just like what we went through to see if she can help now that he's got an application in. And what I really love, and I keep going back to this, is our school system said, yes, let's help this family. They are in crisis. Let's wrap around. And I have been talking to our school system a lot about that transition planning and how important it is. And bada bing, here we go. We got a great example. But they partnered with NAMI, got the kid an application, got the family, and then I can like reinforce with mom, you know, as she moves forward in the process, some of the steps of what to expect. And we're working as a team. And I never thought that I would say that about the public schools several years ago back. But I do think that this education component for our younger people is so important. And
it's also
this is
important.
A great example.
It's also important for the legislator not only to hear what happened to you, but say, now here's a living example that we can watch right now and be part of and see how responsive is the system in a crisis. You know, Amanda and her family are another example of a legislator that said, I'll make a call. I'll help you out. I'll get you off the wait list. We'll do what we can. That person needs to know, I appreciate what has happened, but here's the continued barriers, delay, 45 days to determine somebody's eligible for Medicaid means that the systems won't do anything until they get the okie dokie. But if we don't even know what the next steps are, it's hard for us to push because yes, the school can help, but yes, they already knew it. And so what we are really doing in part is raising expectations of collaboration, communication, commitment in our communities to have the intent of people with developmental disabilities to be able to remain in their homes, live in their communities, while recognizing that developmental disabilities can be significant barriers to that success. And our joint efforts to commit, to communicate, to put ourselves out. I mean, I felt for you, Stephanie. I feel for you, I feel your pain when you see that family and you know where they're at in a lot of ways because you just are aligning with it. That power to communicate that not only are we inspiring, we're also asking people to be accountable. That if you say, yes, this should happen, and that's the intent of the law, and you are a legislator, then through your actions, the things that are barriers, that's what we need to do. If we intend to make it work, let's make it work. And it's not abstract. It is somebody's kid, somebody that almost got run over yesterday. And today it became a community crisis for a little bit. So we the people is not just a call, it's us every day, and those community relationships that you build with that individual legislature, and the fact that you bring other people and say, thank you for helping me, here's another one. Here's another one.
Yeah.
The more that happens, the more they're going to go, we need this agency to be working right.
It's Melissa.
Hi, Melissa. Yes, you can.
Okay. All right. Hi, everybody.
Let's see your face.
I heard somebody.
Melissa.
It's Melissa.
I'm sorry. My thing isn't working right for some reason. But it's Melissa. Sorry, my video's not working. And for Monday, I emailed Representative Roach's office with the couple of people that I know are speaking. I think, if we get there around like 9:45, that's probably good. If anybody wants to, go in, together, kind of like how we did in Sarasota. But if any families, are going to speak, like if you're going to fill out a speaker card and stuff, I can't agree more with, like, telling your story and speaking from the heart. As far as, I love, like, mentioning the social services estimating conference and stuff, but they do need to hear from the families. The families are the lobbyists for the waiver program. I can't stress that enough. And we need to have the families, not, it's not just about the delegation meetings and stuff, because those are winding down, but to try to continue to keep, adding more people on to this, and that it's not just the same, few people each time, but trying to really, get some more families, more stories to be able to email those to those guys. But I definitely think that speaking from the heart is the way to go with the families.
It is. I totally 100% agree to all of the things. And talking about spreading our tentacles and our wings. Jim Howard from By My Side Today gave us a friggin' webpage. It's so awesome. We're now on the interwebs, and we can clearly give more people like a kind of concrete idea of what we do to help get them engaged. And I would oh, hey, look, he's here. Hey.
I'm here.
I highly encourage everybody to share this page with whoever you've got, whoever you know, because it's just an easy way to do it. We do need more families. It will get old if it's just the same 6 people going around. And I'm telling people hundreds and hundreds of families, and we really need to do what we can to keep in communication with our local legislators. When we started this, the mission was 10 families and each county having relationships with their legislators. So as many people that we can get the message to that can catch on to this, that would be great. I'm so glad you're here. You sneak. Your name didn't say that. Do you want to chime in? And then I wanted to, is the Loveland chick here? I'm sorry, Becca. I wanted her to talk about her advocate as well.
Gotcha. My Zoom came in under the Northwest Florida Provider Network. We got a grant about 2 years ago to try and strengthen the providers, the home and community-based providers out there. Coming off the waiting list is great, but then if you can't find a provider to help you provide services, then you're still stuck in the mud. So we developed training and other things like that. Our website with By My Side, the number 2 day. We've been a resource for families with disabilities for many, many years. I've often had families go, well, we're always there for others. Who's there for us? And the answer is we are. So we're special needs advocates, and we're working to help we the people and other families out there get their stories out, to get the attention. Because like I said, years ago, we, as a support coordinator, we all stormed Tallahassee together on DD Day, what have you. And we asked Rick Scott at the time, do you really want somebody changing your son's, caring for your loved one for less than minimum wage? And it really, it drove the point across. There's strength in numbers. If we can get, the arc and the different arcs to all converge on Tallahassee in the same day, that would be great. And also my push right now is, of course, to get the ways to tell their story with your simple one-page design out there. And the t-shirt. I'm going to work on the link this weekend for the t-shirt.
And please continue to engage and support and have them understand the family care councils. We believe in the commitment to that. We are a voice of advocacy on behalf of family care councils because of their statutory empowerment, but the lack of active appointments. We want that system to be active, and we appreciate those of you that have been out there over the years for doing it. And it's exciting that a lot of the kind of old dogs like me are excited and reinvigorated by the genuine passion and commitment and engagement of the younger families, and I didn't ever want to say that because it makes me sound so old, but it's really cool. So Jim, thank you so much.
Yeah, and we've got to bring in some new blood, the new families, like you just said, Tom. So any which way we can do that, please let us know what we can do to help.
We want to get them lined up and have them like a lineup of a mass appointment day out of the governor's office. And he says, I'm clearing the backlog, and there's 187 appointments that have been sitting in my desk for 5 years, and make something like that happen.
Hey, Alan, can the ARC people come? Like advocacy days to DD Day?
We set up our board meeting the day before, so our CEOs will be up there the day after. But I'm trying to set something up so the legislators come by us and we get a room there. I don't know if our providers can afford. I mean, they're running deficits. How do you pay for people to go up there when you know?
I think if we can get the reach out of flyers, if we can get another 1,000 flyers between now and DD Day done, and we need to hear a lot more from folks that are in community-based settings. And
well, I also think we'll know more before that time. We'll know what the budget is. We'll start seeing stuff by then. So there could be more urgency at that point. I think early December, we find out what's in the governor's budget. And I think a budget will come out pretty quick. And I think Senator Pasadomo's bill will come out quick. If you noticed, when she has a priority, it gets done quick. Remember the housing? It was done pretty much before session began. So I got a feeling that you're going to start seeing some movement early. Pasadomo's committed to the stuff that she's talked to you about.
I'm going to see her. She's doing like a pre-legislative session luncheon to talk specifically about her Live Healthy initiative, like in detail. So that's like right after Thanksgiving. I can't wait for that.
And Melissa, Stephanie.
Becca, how about Becca?
Becca's up.
Becca from Loveland.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me. So Stephanie asked me to talk a little bit about our Advocate series. First of all, Loveland is a service provider in Charlotte, Sarasota, and Manatee counties. One of the things we offer was specifically started for the families we already serve, but they're free and online, so anyone can come and join them. Is a monthly Advocate series, and it covers different topics for families and caregivers to be able to better support their loved one. Stephanie's going to do one for us in January, talking about how to talk to your legislature for our families and help them figure out how to start advocating. Other ones that we have done are like behavior management, how to find housing, or how to at least look for housing, how to do special needs trusts, any type of planning, financial planning for individual disabilities. Next year, we're looking at adding a trauma-informed care, because so many of our individuals do live with trauma as well. We'll keep adding to it throughout the year, but it's an exciting way to help families just get a little bit more information and training to be able to support themselves and their loved ones.
Thanks, Becca.
Welcome.
Do you
we'll have a link to those trainings? We'll have a link.
Once the link is up and good, I'm done for this year, but when they restart in January, I will have a link.
And that reminded me, yesterday I attended somebody smarter than me, Family Cafe Tea or Tay or
TA.
What?
Cafe TA.
Family Cafe TA.
Mental health.
They did a webinar yesterday about the trauma and distress caregivers go under, and it was incredibly relatable. I do think that there is an element of self-care, no matter how much we try to put into it. We need to fill up, in those online webinars and education moments are really good for us, so that we can help our other family members, and especially ourselves. Christine Mon, are you still here?
Yes, ma'am. I'm still here.
Hi. Christine is, why don't you tell us who you are and maybe some stuff that you're up to?
Sure. I am obviously Christine Mon, and I am with the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities. I'm the consultant for Lee County, Collier, Charlotte, and Hendry. I work for USF, but I have those 4 lower counties, so we service 14 counties. I am happy to say that I am in all 4 counties with the school districts, with the families, providing trainings. We do autism-friendly business trainings. I was just at Naples Zoo yesterday doing that. And just, it looks like I'm advocating more for families too. So, training law enforcement, that's been really a big thing, working with NAMI.
We would love for you to share with the CARD network the Meet the Families flyer and encourage as many of the CARD organizations to help families with a voice of their own and utilize that, because CARD has been a profoundly impactful system of support that has certainly had years of challenge when it comes to funding and the capacity. But all in all, we are very grateful for what CARD has done and continues to do. And we ask as much as possible to reach out, through your network and tell them about us.
You beat me to it. I was gonna say, can you share the story thing with the families? I think the bigger
well, all the flyers I put on my page, and some are part of my Facebook page. So you're welcome to, if you want to send me your contact information, I can put my information in the chat. So any flyers, any events, anything like this, when Stephanie puts it out there, I copy and paste it to my page so that families can see. And then I also share it with our Tampa, with my colleagues from there and on our page there, so that it does go out.
Well, you know how I'm like your family, like so Christine and I met because she's our card person. And she ended up actually coming to DD Day with me last year. Like you don't meet people like that all the time. But could you send out the fill your story form to your families so that they have the direct link that they could just, it only takes 5 minutes to fill it out.
I did send it to, initially when you sent me that, I sent it out to a few local families in Fort Myers, but I can certainly get a bigger list together and send it out to them.
Are any of your families coming with you to the Charlotte delegation? Not a one?
No. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to come, but
I was you. You're coming.
Guilt works, darn it.
I think one of the things we talked about at the Best Buddies event was what you've come into contact a lot recently with that I can never say that right. Comorbid, two diagnoses, co-occurring, and the struggle that we have at meeting multiple needs. I know that mental health is a focus this session. I'm not sure how much of a focus developmental disabilities alongside mental health is, but I do think those things are certainly powerful messages our legislators need to hear.
No, I agree. And honestly, I'm willing to do, whatever I can do to assist. And I think our biggest challenge, it's something that I've taken on in this area, is the transition piece. So I'm co-chairing with Lee County on their project transition, but that's in Charlotte and in all 4 of my counties. But really getting parent support and getting them to understand that there are all these supports available. So we're really trying to brainstorm and just get that, just like you're asking, are they coming? And I don't know why. I don't know what the what's stopping folks, but I want to get
for a
past
lot of
that.
people, what stops them is the reality of everyday care, crises, moments, and it's not. I think most families really care. They're just trying to make it to the next hour.
Yep.
And so it's important that we have mechanisms and opportunities to do that. And one of them is that it is 3:02 on a Friday afternoon. And we do our best to commit to an hour. You know, I see there's a couple of hands up. We could do a couple of quick wrapping up conversations. This is not the first time. We hope you're here. We want to see and engage, and we appreciate your support. I know today got a little complicated because it is, but it didn't get that complicated. If there's money that needs to be spent, let's get it going. If there's crises that need to be addressed, let's make sure people are aware of it and get behind it, and that our stories matter, our voices matter, knowledge is power, and we ain't going away.
And Thanksgiving matters, and that is next Thursday. We're not going to meet next Friday because we're hoping that you guys are all turkey hungover and enjoy life, and we can come back at this the following Friday. Next Friday was supposed to be 6, so we're just going to keep the schedule. So the following Friday will be 2, not 6. Charlotte delegation, Miami delegation on the 28th. Which we won't have a meeting until then. Oh, wait, shoot. Okay, so in my 1 minute, Miami delegation is, what month are we in? November 28th. This is a really awesome one because our incoming House Speaker, Danny Perez, will be over there, and a great opportunity for us to go continue to speak our truth. I'm going to end the thing, but I won't end the meeting. So if anybody wants to talk for a minute, you have 5.